Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Every time, no.
Imagine what would happen if every person in the United
I would like to
States...
personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, still listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour Show. Head to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page. Of course, check out the blog section as well. We got new blogs and merch dropping each and every day over there. We got the Fire merch that just dropped this month, October, Hulkamania action. So if you guys are a big fan of the Hulkster, get some of that Hulk merch, man. Hulk is... Tori, do you know who the Hulk is? Come on, man.
What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do, brother? 24 inch, run wild, run wild. You. I mean, Jesus. I remember the Hulk before he was in the WWF. That's how old I am.
Whoa, easy. So, Tori, didn't we literally just test the audio, and now all of a sudden I'm getting like some type of echo? Oh man, my life, Tori, my life. Talk again, man.
Are we here? You got it fixed? Are we echoey?
We are talk. Give me a check 1 2 now.
Like, can I give you a mic check? All the mics.
I fixed it. Lord, I'm the smartest man alive. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. But it is Fantasy Football Wednesday, and that means one thing and one thing only. We do have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Tori Anderson at manhour_Tori. What's going on, Tori? What's going on, man?
I mean, my Twitter's actually been blowing up at my manhour_Tori. Again, it's all fake accounts. So I'm still on a quest to have more real followers on Twitter than fake ones.
Right.
I never knew I was so popular with like European lingerie models.
Hey, if you would join some follow trains that we have on Man Hour, retweet those, yada yada yada.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm really, really bad with Twitter.
Yeah,
I can LinkedIn with the best of them, but I can't Twitter tweet.
Twitter is definitely an acquired taste, and I'm more of a Facebook and Instagram guy myself, but it is what it is. We see Michelle in the chat. What is up, Michelle? Of course, the chat's not working now. There we go. Pop it up. Boom, baby. Oh, it's because I don't know. Tori, good God, man. You're bad luck.
Are you just breaking stuff?
Yeah.
No. Listen here, Mr. Trying to take over my earbuds, trying to control my mind.
You do what you do. You do what you do, man. Like it's like legit. Like, so I can pop over here and the chat's there, but I pop over here, Tori, and the chat is not there. Like, I don't get it. But we have Michelle in the chat. What is up, Michelle? Mrs. Combs, hope you're having a grand night. Congratulations. It's been, nearly 18 days since she's been married, and they're still married. So Combs is fine doing something, right?
I mean, arsenic takes a while to take effect. So,
and we got our man Alpha Rob in the chat as well. What is up, Alpha Rob? Hope you're having a grand night. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/manhour. And of course, we do replays on IG every morning at 8 a.m. So if you're on the IG, go ahead and pop that over there. We have Drew in the chat as well. What's going on, Drew? Guys, keep in check or Drew will moderate the crap out of you. He will shut you down faster than a French horse shuts down Brandon Combs' future. Is that too soon, Tori?
I mean, is it ever too soon?
I don't know. Anyways,
I mean,
Fantasy Football Wednesday. Fantasy Football Wednesday, Tori. Bye weeks are here, man. I dislike bye weeks with a passion. But with that being said, we were talking pre-show, and bye weeks are going to be the death of us from what it sounds like, because I literally have everybody on bye week this week, and it's funny that you said that you just traded Keenan Allen, or you're going to pick up Keenan Allen, because I just traded Keenan Allen away for the Seattle Seahawks running back. Forget his name.
Kenneth Walker II.
Kenneth Walker II. Was right off the bat, was that a good trade?
Given the fact that Keenan Allen's been hurt, yeah. I mean, and again, it all depends on your depth at your receiver position too. So, I actually in my main league had drafted Kenneth Walker II. The only reason I had to cut him is because I was so devastated with injuries at wide receiver. I had to cut him and let him go. And then I became thoroughly deep at running back, so there was no need for me to pick him back up. And I had to play against him last week, and well, luckily he put up some points, but I put up a lot more. Yeah, absolutely. We're at that point now where your bye weeks come in. If you're like me and you ended up drafting half the Philadelphia Eagles offense, you are in trouble this week. No Jalen Hurts. Number one scoring fantasy player out this week. I had Devonta Smith. I actually have Dallas Goedert too, but we don't have to start a tight end in our league. So I actually have a couple of waiver claims in, because guess what? I only carry one quarterback. And as I said, like defense wise, I usually only carry one defense. And I start to play matchups. Last week, I actually had cut. I don't even remember who I cut for my team. Cut somebody from my team. And
that one guy.
But I picked up the Commanders defense because of their matchup. They were my highest scoring player on my team because they played the Bears.
Right.
And now we're playing the matchups. I actually am now cutting the Commanders defense this weekend because the Bills are on bye, so I still have to have a defense. However, Green Bay, I'm expecting to have a bounce back game, and I'm actually picking up the Jets defense. If you looked at what the Jets did last weekend against Green Bay, against a fully healthy offensive line that's supposedly one of the better ones in the league, watch out. Again, I'm sticking by my statement. Zach Wilson is trash. He only threw for 118 yards and no touchdowns. So he's not very good. Right now, they're riding on the coattails of that defense. I think that this weekend they have another favorable matchup. I think they're gonna feast again this weekend. So if you need a bye week defense, right now you should be looking at the New York Jets to pick up and play this weekend.
Yeah, and just to add to your point, they're not even as a bye week defense, just as a defense moving forward. The Jets are putting up some points, Tori.
That they are. And again, like I said, I have the Bills. So for me to keep them after this week, probably not going to happen at that point. If I don't like the matchup the Bills have, it's like I said, I will just look at matchups for that week and I'll pick up a defense that week if I feel like I don't want to start the Bills. I'm quarterback. I only carry one quarterback because I only need a quarterback 1 week out of the year. So I actually have a waiver claim in right now, and the chances are available in most 12-team leagues. Chances are they're available and under that. I put a waiver claim in for Daniel Jones.
Really?
If you remember back to last year, you guys all called me insane because I thought that Daniel Jones was going to bust out and be a really good, and I thought the Giants were a dark horse team last year. I was just a year off. So Daniel Jones, but again, he's putting up solid passing numbers with basically wide receivers you've never heard of. Was it Richie? I think Richie James is the leading receiver for the New York Giants. And if you can name 3 other receivers that are healthy on that team, I would probably give you a high five or a handshake because I can't name anybody on that wide receiver core that's healthy right now. But he's a dual threat quarterback. Again, if you watch the Giants and you watch their play style and everything else, they do a lot of quarterback draws, like they do a lot of stuff. He's a dual threat. I mean, if you just need him as a replacement option for the week, I think this is a good one. And who did the Giants play this weekend? Because that's the other reason I picked them up, was because of their matchup. I put in for them.
I have not broke down week 7 yet. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sorry.
Well, what the heck, Buck? I mean, come on. Wednesday
nights are usually the nights that I break down like film and stuff and get ready for the show for Thursday and Friday. So like after we're done, I sit down and break down stuff. So
I break down too, but it's mostly crying.
Yeah, you are a Packers fan right now.
So yeah. So they play the Jaguars this weekend, who that defense has been struggling a little bit too.
Yeah.
So
Started off hot.
and I think
bad now.
again that game is one of those I think that has the potential it could end up in a shootout. Again, the Jags can put up points, and so can the Giants. So I would say Daniel Jones is a great option for there, just because he's going to be dumping off a lot. Again, they're not healthy at receiver, but he's going to run around a lot. He might get you a rushing touchdown or two, which again in our league, if you have a quarterback that can run it in, that's invaluable in our league, just because those dual threat quarterbacks now are just as valuable as a dual threat running back in a PPR.
Right. So let me ask you this question here. So I'm glad you brought up the New York Football Giants, because just like you said, their wide receiver core has been decimated by injury. There is a free agent out there that is making his world tour, traveling to all these places and all these teams and basically getting this star treatment. I think you know where I'm going with this guy. Free agent signing deadline is November 1st. Do you pick up Odell Beckham Jr. if you are hurting like you were earlier in the season at the wide receiver core, or if you just have space on your bench for a wide receiver or a player in general? Are you picking up Odell Beckham Jr.?
I mean, it's not a terrible play. If you have room to stash, absolutely. I don't know a lot of fantasy owners that have room to stash, just because with bye weeks coming in now, those roster spots become just a little bit more valuable, than they were earlier in the year. So I would say yes, you could. My biggest issue with potentially with Odell is it's really hard for a receiver to come in mid-year to pick up your playbook. There's going to be just certain plays and stuff like that they can pick up and get. It was a miracle Odell did what he did mid-season when he got traded to the Rams.
Right.
So I'm very, very skeptical when it comes to receivers, just because it's a lot more intricate with whatever offense they get into. And again, it depends. Now, if he goes back to the Rams, absolutely. Like as soon as they announce he signs, you better be hitting pickup. But yeah, if you have the room, yes. If you don't, I would say hold off a little bit on that. That's it's a little dicey, especially if Odell, say he goes to, I don't know what, wasn't Kelsey like tweeting at him today about going to Kansas City? And
yeah, well, and the Chiefs cleared up. They made $3 or $4 million worth of cap space. So I mean, there's definitely room to sign him for a year, right? So it's just really hard. And again, it's a West Coast type offense in Kansas City. If he goes there, it's a West Coast type offense in Green Bay. If he goes there, it depends on where he goes in the fit. So, okay. So you were saying it all depends, but if you have space, definitely pick him up if you can. So with a player like me, I am 1-5 going into week 7. I'm going to potentially, make all the moves I can at this point in the season.
Am I your only win?
You are. You are, man. Yeah.
Dang, I'm
having a rough
2-4 though.
Yeah.
I've been banged up.
Yeah.
I haven't had Jonathan Taylor for 2 weeks. Aaron Jones hasn't produced like I thought he would.
Yeah.
I am just, Joe Mixon's not been anywhere near as good. I'm like, oof.
Right.
Oof.
So another receiver that got banged up, Hollywood Brown, got banged up over the weekend, and he is potentially out for the rest of the season. With that looming transaction there, the Cardinals were proactive, and they picked up a favorable wide receiver in Robbie Anderson from the Carolina Panthers. Now, like I said, if you are injury prone at wide receiver like you were earlier in the year, and like what I'm sitting at right now, is Robbie Anderson possibly a good pickup, like one of those sleeper picks?
Nope. No, because who comes back this week? Nuke.
D-Hop.
Nuke comes back.
Yep.
Yeah. So right away, again, receiver, midseason, completely different offense. It's going to be an adjustment period. You're not really going to see a lot out of Robbie Anderson for maybe about a month. You're going to see they said he's playing Thursday night. Right. So he'll have probably 4 or 5 plays that he learns and he gets down,
run as fast as
and
you
gets
can
into the game
down the middle of the field.
Yeah, and that's it. Like if they put him out there, just straight line it.
Yeah.
Just go deep. So it's I don't think at this point Robbie Anderson would be. I mean, if D Hop's available, a lot of leagues he might be available because he was suspended for the first 6 weeks.
Yep.
So it would be a great thing to take a look at and figure out. So right now I don't think Robbie Anderson at this point. I mean, he's about as valuable right now to the Cardinals as Deshaun Jackson signing with the Baltimore Ravens right now.
Yeah, so that's exactly where I was going to go with this next receiver signing, Deshaun Jackson. Is he a good pickup at all?
I mean, again, we'll see in a month, but he's a veteran. He's 35 years old. He might know a little bit more. It all depends. But again, he's 35 years old and still probably one of the fastest people in the league. So literally, you could put him in there and be like, just straight to field. That's what he's going to do, and he's going to outrun probably 90% of the youngsters.
Yeah, he's also going to outrun Lamar Jackson's deep ball too.
Could be, yes, yeah. So, but again, experienced receiver, he'll know how to come back to that. He'll learn Lamar's arm strength.
So with all that being said, you said Robbie Anderson and Deshaun Jackson, they might be good in a month. Well, you know what is in about a month are the fantasy football playoffs. Do you
playoffs?
Playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. Do you store these guys on your bench hoping that they produce in the playoffs, or are you going some other route?
Again, it all depends on what the rest of your roster kind of looks like right now and where you're at this point. Like I said, you're 1-5. If you're banged up in receiver, what's it hurt? I mean, you're already headed towards the bottom. So, and in our league there, we don't have transaction fees. So transaction away.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I have. If you look at our transactions, I think I made 3 transactions today.
Yeah, me too. I think I dropped Cam Akers because I think he's going to be out for the rest of this season.
I think you made a mistake there.
So Cam Akers, he is obviously disgruntled in LA, and they said if they do not find a trade suitor for him, they are going to find a way to make it work on, right?
No, right. They said we'll find a way to make it work.
Right. So why do you think Cam Akers is going to be a bad drop?
Because I do believe that they will find a trade person or a trade partner for him. Because if right now the Panthers are taking offers on CMC, if you can't land CMC, chances are you're probably going after Cam Akers. Personally, I would go after Cam Akers first. Just because he's going to cost you way less than what it's going to take to trade for CMC. And I think he's a younger running back and obviously less injury prone. Not as much wear and tear on his body either. And again, like if Cam Akers gets traded to like say a Miami, where we kind of thought that would be a stable running back group with Mostert and Chase Edmonds, and it's been just a revolving door. Yeah, I think that would be a good trade for him. A lot of people, I'm hearing Denver a lot, but I just don't think Denver will do it just because of the money that they have tied up. And I honestly think that Latavius Murray will kind of end up being their lead back, even though Gordon's going to start this week. I think Murray being the veteran he is with not a lot of mileage on him is probably going to end up being the lead back there. San Francisco, honestly, for Cam Akers makes the most sense, but it's in your own division. They're not going to trade him within their own division.
Yeah, unless he gets cut or whatever.
Unless he got cut.
Go
ahead.
Go, Corey. Go.
So it's like I said, it all depends on where they decide to go with him and which direction that they decide to trade him. So it could literally go any number of ways right now at this point. But I think wherever he goes, he's gonna play with a chip on his shoulder and kind of show the running back he could have been. I don't think the Rams used him very well. I mean, they showed it last year when Darrell Henderson was in there. Like they kind of fell in love with Darrell Henderson last year. So they were like, all right. And I don't think Cam Akers really ever fully came back, and they never really fully trusted him.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk real life football, let's flash back to the Cowboys-Rams playoff games, in 2020 when Henderson just destroyed the Dallas Cowboys, and that's kind of when, the writing was on the wall for Cam Akers, I think, in the end. But
Absolutely.
we talked about two receivers that got traded or picked up, and you said stay away from those guys, but you were saying go towards Cam Akers. Do you think the running back position is a little bit easier to transition, or do you just think he is going to run with like a bull in the China chop type of thing? Like why are you saying stick with Cam Akers but not with Robbie Anderson or Deshaun Jackson?
Just because generally the playbook's a little bit easier for running backs, because it's not hard to figure out A, B, C gap and which one you have to go into. Big thing then you're just kind of learning the timing, like your vision and your blockers and how you kind of want to do that. To me, it's just easier to pick up the playbook as a running back because Cam Akers is not a 3-down back, so he's not going to be in there to pass block on passing downs. If anything, he'll just be running a little either a wheel route or sitting in the flats to catch a ball. So it's not as intricate as the receiver, like having 35 different plays that you have to know, and like am I cutting in, am I cutting out, which way am I doing, stuff like that. Whereas it's a little bit easier for me in my book.
Yeah, and so that actually makes perfect sense, and I'm glad you ironed that out for me here a little bit. But speaking into bye weeks, and you have a one quarterback system on your team, I just looked up Tom Brady is available in 67% of leagues per ESPN and CBS Sports. Do you pick up Tom Brady if you have a bye week, and why?
Ooh. I don't know. Maybe Tom and Aaron showed their age pretty bad last weekend. Yeah. But I would say yes at this point, just because he has more weapons than he knows what to do with on that offense. So Tom Brady is still a danger to throw 4 or 5 touchdowns every single week. It's I'm pretty sure I could put up Tom Brady numbers throwing to those receivers and tight ends and touchdown Lenny and everybody else in that offense. Like,
wait.
I could throw
Tom
3-yard
numbers.
outs.
Are you talking about the 10 points that he's put up the last couple weeks, or old Tom Brady numbers?
I mean, old Tom Brady. I mean, with my Cam Newton strength arm, I got
right.
I could throw her 5 yards.
That commercial always cracks me up. It's like, what are you doing, kid? I'm just stretching out. That was
I'm just warming up.
Shoot, that was like 10 years ago, right, man? That was forever ago. So
just warming up my arm.
My internet is going super slow right now, Tori, but I am going over to our fantasy discussion group to pull out some questions if it ever loads. Do you remember any questions off the top of your head from our fantasy discussion Facebook group?
So one of them was like, who are some of the biggest busts that we've had or in fantasy football this year? And certain people are going to say certain people, but I'm going to go back to the one I said right away at the beginning of the year, and I was like looking at the way they are, and I said Najee Harris, and guess who drafted Najee Harris? Oh wait, that was me. Because I had missed out on the top 3 running backs. I missed out on the top 3 receivers. And actually, I think I just had this discussion with Wayne G. And I said, I mean, hindsight, I should have took Justin Jefferson at that point. But at that point, if I would have known I have the running back depth that I have now, I probably would have took a receiver at that point versus taking a running back. So, I lucked out and hit on a lot of my other picks later on in my draft, but Najee Harris, hands down, predicted usually anywhere from 7 to 10 in most ADPs. I think somebody had said like his ADP was like 7.10 or something like that. So it was right in my wheelhouse where I was picking at 7. So I'm like, I never felt good about it. I really didn't like the pick, even when I made it. And I was like, I think this is a terrible pick, but I'm going to need a running back that gets dual threat. So one, absolutely, Najee Harris. The other one, the number 1 pick in most leagues has been Jonathan Taylor, just because he's been banged up. He's been injured. He has not been, the JT that he was last year.
Right.
And again, he's been slowed by just a number of lingering injuries and which led to him being out the last couple of weeks. And that's, to me, I don't know. I have the bust label on him, but I think it's more of a disappointment than anything, because it's part of the reason I'm 2-4 in our league.
Well, also to put a bust label on a person, like he needs to be able to play and just not produce, right? Like when he is playing, he is still kind of producing, right? So I mean, this question actually just popped up in our fantasy football discussion group over on Facebook. If you guys are not a part of that, you should be. Get all your questions answered over there by the man, the mental legend, right here at manhour_Tori. Dennis Wilson, Tori, ask, I have Barkley, Henry, and Chubb at running back and flex. My question is, would you trade Chubb for Chase or Henry for Jefferson? One or both trades?
I'm not trading Chubb at all. Chubb's one of the top fantasy running backs this year. I would say, if anything, I would do Henry for Jefferson, just because Justin Jefferson is arguably the best receiver in the game. I mean, if you ask me, it's just basically between him and Cooper Kupp at this point.
Right.
JJ can go off for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in half a heartbeat. So I would say, if anything, I'm going to make that Derrick Henry. And again, I was a year off. I said Derrick Henry was going to fall off a cliff. He's kind of, to me, he's hitting that cliff this year. He's not Derrick Henry that everybody thinks he is this year. So honestly, if you could get Justin Jefferson for Derrick Henry, I'm making that trade in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just because it's the upside's not there.
And if we flash back to when we first started this fantasy football Wednesday, you said a lot of people draft because of name notoriety, and Derrick Henry has that name notoriety, and it would almost be kind of a steal, right? I mean, Derrick Henry for Justin Jefferson, like right now.
I'm honestly, yes. And that's where, and like we've talked about that, like your strategies, like you will have people that will just play that homer thing. Like if you have somebody that's a Derrick Henry fan and they have Justin Jefferson and they're like, oh, they're going to be falling over themselves. You could probably ask for another player. They'd be like, oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'll give you my whole team. Like, there's always that one person. I don't care what league it is. There's always that one person that is like that is such a homer that they will sacrifice their entire team for one player that is completely overrated.
Yep. And the Buck Boys have officially joined the show. So, hello, dudes. What's up, guys? High fives. Yeah. Okay. He says he wants to watch TV and tear Tori up.
Oh, what?
He said, get some
There's
of
no
that,
tearing
Tori.
me up. What you going to do when the 24-inch pythons come wild for you?
Right. So, Trip, easy there, buddy.
Was it? Oh, as you say, it's River next to you, isn't it?
This is Trip.
Is it Trip?
Yep. River went back inside.
See.
So the next question here is, it says, I could use some help at running back. I was offered Jonathan Taylor for Jalen Hurts. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely not. No. Back away from that. Yeah, I don't care how much running back help you need. Jalen Hurts is probably better than most of the running backs right now in the league, and he's getting you passing touchdowns and stuff. He's the dual threat. He's the one that you kind of want right now. He's like, I do believe it's either him or Lamar that's like the top scoring fantasy player in the league right now, and they're 1 and 2 when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, you are absolutely.
It sounds like your fantasy football team.
Yeah, 1 and 5 is not good right now. So I am scrolling through here. Jay Wilson or Godwin for your flex for this week.
Oh, I got to look at matchups here. Who does San Francisco play? So we got Tampa Bay, Carolina. So Godwin's playing Carolina. And Jeff Wilson is playing against KC. Give me Godwin all day long on that one. Just because that's probably not going to be a very pretty game for San Francisco on Sunday against KC.
Wow.
Especially KC coming off a loss.
Yeah, well, you never know, right? So one more question here. Scrolling through. We've answered a lot of those already. Should have prepared for this.
So, and again, like if you're not following our fantasy football discussions, you have questions, follow it. Ask the questions. I try to literally go in there and answer everything. And again, like a lot of times too, we will just bring it up on Wednesdays and we'll talk about it and kind of dissect it and go over it as well on Wednesdays.
All right. So last question. Juan Maya, he needs a flex, and he has all of these at the moment. He has a lot of flex options. He has Melvin Gordon, B. Robertson for the Washington Commanders, Hollywood Brown, which he is hurt, D. Moore for the Carolina Panthers, Curtis Samuel, or Disley for the Seahawks.
Brian Robinson all day long.
Yeah,
I've been banging that drum since the start of the season. So, I was shocked that he got the start last week. I'm giving it one more week before I decide I might put him in my starting lineup on a permanent basis. So, I'm going to see what he does this week, but I think that as he gets healthier and gets in there, he showed it in the preseason that they trusted him and he was going to carry the workload.
Yep.
Ron Rivera put the workload on him last week and he started to produce. So I think as he gets, stronger coming back from the gunshot wounds there, I think he's going to be one of the better fantasy players by the time we get to the playoffs. I think in the playoffs, he's actually going to probably be one of your difference makers then for fantasy football playoffs.
Yeah, and you also need to take this into perspective as well. Starting quarterback Carson Wentz is out 4 to 6 weeks, so therefore you're going to have a backup quarterback, probably going to be a little bit more conservative on the offensive side of the ball, running the ball a lot more.
Wrong.
So, wrong?
Wrong. They actually have the better quarterback in there now. I mean, Taylor Heineke has shown over the last 2 years that he's not a terrible quarterback. I don't know why he always gets it. I mean, and what I think is funny is he ended up starting last year when Green Bay played Washington and almost beat them.
Yeah.
And the way Green Bay's playing right now, he has a shot to go into Green Bay and beat them. People can say whatever they want, but I mean, Green Bay is not right now.
Yeah. So Drew comes with the questions. Gunshot wounds. Yes, Drew. So Robertson, the running back for the Washington Commanders, he was shot. I believe it was the final preseason game or the right before week 1 is when he was shot. He was shot in the stomach 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken.
His leg. No, shot in his leg twice. Missed everything. Like super vital. Yeah, it was a carjacking attempt that they shot him. Yeah, and it was right after the last preseason game.
Yeah, so he actually played last week, but very, very sparingly. So he is he is back, but he's definitely getting worked in. So one last question. Tony Tarr comes in here, Tori, on the Facebook page. He says Lazard or Elijah Moore. Take Cormanus out of it. Homer,
just because
Homer.
but the thing is as bad as they played, Aaron's a creature of habit, and he's gonna go to what he knows, and that's gonna be Allen Lazard. Lazard's never gonna run by anybody, but he runs precise routes, and that Aaron will take a wide receiver that runs good routes over a speedster any single day of the week.
And Randall Cobb's
and the
out
fact
too,
that
right?
Aaron, Cobb's out. Romeo Dobbs is a little bit banged up. I actually picked him up in our league, and I think I'm starting him just because bye weeks.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there.
Would you pick up like Amari Cooper with all those injuries then?
If is Cooper available in our league? Absolutely, I would pick him up.
Amari Cooper, or not Amari Cooper, Amari Rodgers. I'm sorry, Amari Rodgers.
No. Again, I don't know how he's on the team still, mostly because he can play special teams, I think. But he actually did pick up, just because we had a couple of the receivers. Lazard got banged up. Dobbs got banged up. He actually picked up a little bit more. But I will tell you right now, Aaron Rodgers, you've never heard Aaron Rodgers mutter Amari Rodgers' name in a good way, ever. It's mostly been like, well, he needs to learn or he needs to show us. And that means that quarterback does not trust him at all.
Well, let's just be flat honest. Has Aaron Rodgers talked about anybody all season long?
But the thing is he's not wrong though. He's being honest about it. And like he gets asked about literally the young wide receivers every week.
Right.
And they're learning. There's a process to it. He's like, I'm having fun learning with them, but they need to pick it up.
Right.
And that's at this point in the season, you're kind of not really a rookie anymore because you've had 4 or 5 months into the playbook already.
Right.
So you should be starting to pick a lot more things up at this point.
Well, there's still 10 weeks left in the season, Tori, so don't hit the panic button quite yet. But if you're like me and you're 1-5 and you are hitting the panic button, give me some advice to not hit the panic button. How can I turn my season like around besides, trading everybody?
So, and the big thing, and it's just like any other NFL GM, like a real life GM. Stick to your plan. What was your plan at the beginning of the season? Stick to it. If that's what you're going to do, go with it. The big thing that I do see, I try to set a consistent lineup. Like I try to really find a good flow. I do play matchups. But for the most part, if I don't have to mess with my lineup too much, I'm happy with that. And it's finding that good balance of where you want that roster to be at and what you want to do. Like right now, the only position I'm kind of really unsettled at is my RB2, because Najee Harris has been kind of a bust. Dameon Pierce is my RB1 right now. He's coming off a bye, but he's busting out I believe I said he would. But I have Najee Harris, I have James Robinson. I'm not 100. Brian Robinson has a spot on my team. I'm just not sold on him being a starter yet. So I have a couple of options, but I need to figure that out. So I was kind of trying to figure out what my rotation should have been. And I was a little skeptical too, even after the first 2 weeks, Dameon Pierce didn't do much. Now he's coming on. First 2 weeks, James Robinson looked like he was going to be an RB1 for the Jaguars this year. He's starting to fall off because ETN's getting a little more comfortable with the offense now, and he's starting to pick up we kind of thought he would be. So it's readjusting for me. I mean, honestly, for me, the best thing that could happen is Najee Harris settling into a role in the Pittsburgh, finding a role, and I'd be extremely dominant in my league.
Well, if you are still looking for a RB2, I have Zeke on the trading block for Robertson if you want to make that trade.
You're not in that league.
Oh.
Our league here, I have Jonathan Taylor, I have Chubb, or not Chubb, but Joe Mixon and Aaron Jones, and again underperforming, but still have home run threats.
All right, Tori. Guys, that is going to be it for our Fantasy Football Wednesday. Join us every Wednesday with the man, the myth, the legend right here, Tori Anderson, our fantasy football expert. Tori sent us out on the right way.
Man, our nation. Rise up.
Oh, Tori, don't go yet. My man Nick Forster just popped in a chat here.
Uh-oh.
He popped it in last second before I hit the end button. He says, I have Breece Hall and James Conner. Tony Pollard is starting at RB2 right now, and Diggs, Pittman, and Myers. I traded Carter and Tyler Lockett for Cordell Patterson and DJ Moore. Was that good?
Yes, because Patterson, even though he's out with the knee injury right now, he's going to come back in week 9. Again, dual threat, big running back, and he might see a little bit of a reduced role because Algiers actually played really well in Atlanta, which I think I told everybody to take a look at him and pick him up as well. I do like the trade. I actually really do, just because Cordell Patterson's a highly underrated player. He's kind of he's their Debo in Atlanta. Like he can bust it out wide. He can take it out of the backfield, and he's got that wide receiver and running back mentality. So yeah, actually, I really like that. He said it was DJ Moore he got with him as well.
Yep.
That's at this point, I mean, it's kind of a revolving door right now until Baker Mayfield can come back there. So, I mean, they've started PJ Walker last weekend. So is Darnold hurt?
Yeah, Sam Darnold hurt his ankle final preseason game when he eventually got benched for the second string. He got hurt. I believe he's due back from the IR like next week though, so maybe he'll
No.
depending. I'm not for sure, but yeah, I think that was a pretty good trade.
I
And
do.
like,
I think that was a good trade.
yeah, and Nick says sorry, ha ha ha. Didn't mean to make you guys. No, don't worry about it, Nick. We're here all night, man. But now we're out. See you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. East Coast time.